Today we gather to honor Francis Bailey and celebrate his life. I find it amazing that in addition to honoring Francis, today is also Father's Day. How appropriate that on this Father's Day we all gather to celebrate the life of Francis, one of the founding fathers of our island. I had the privilege of meeting Francis Bailey over 20 years ago as I was deciding whether or not to get involved in city government.
Everybody loved Francis, and Francis loved Sanibel. He was absolutely an infectious kind of love. He wore it on his sleeve.
Francis graduated from Hampton Sydney College in the class of 1943. He was a fraternal brother in Kappa Sigma fraternity and a 4-year letterman for the Tigers varsity football team. Upon graduation, he enlisted in the armed forces and served his country honorably with distinction. Personally, I just want to thank all of you guys for being here to honor my dad. He was a wonderful man. Thank you.
Francis loved to show off Sanibel. He was so proud of it. He was active at so many levels in our community over its long years. His fingerprints are absolutely everywhere. His generosity to this community is legendary and extraordinary. He was certainly the go-to guy for every good cause that came along. Francis made me an honorary member of Lions so I could sell Christmas trees. But of course, not until I bought one first.
It wasn't until I got involved with the Sanibel Captiva Lions Club about 30 years ago that I really got to know and to appreciate Francis Bailey. As the founder of the club, he lived and breathed Lionism. Local projects, work details, international efforts, everything he could do to help. He held every office, chaired every project at one time or another, always sharing with his fellow Lions his knowledge and love of the island. He performed almost every induction of the new line.
Who here could possibly recount the number of events where food and drink or some significant support was provided by Bailey's? It was just in his DNA to be helpful and practically helpful. I valued his opinion very, very much. I looked at him very much as bedrock on the first council. I listened very closely to what he had to say, because he really was the conscience of the community.
Over the course of all my visits to his office, there was always a recurring theme. You must do what's best for Sanibel, no matter what. There may come a time that the decisions you make, Marty, may affect you negatively. They may affect you personally or from a business standpoint. But you must always do what's best for our island. Francis lived by these statements, as evidenced by his undying commitment to the safety and welfare of our island. Speaking for his city council experiences, Francis indeed was a founding father of Sanibel. He was involved in our incorporation as a city. He served continuously on city council for 22 years, from 1974 to 1996, the longest continuous serving city councilman. He served as mayor in 1979. Today, we live in one of the most beautiful and special places in the country because of his and others' focus on living on an island in harmony with nature and one another. On behalf of the current and former city council members and all former mayors, I would like to thank his wife, June, his children, Ann, Susan, Meade, E.B., and Patrick, for sharing him with all of us. Francis was not only a father to each of you, but he was truly one of the founding fathers of our great city. Thank you, Francis. God bless.
I'm so fortunate to have spent the time that I got to spend with Francis. And like many others that have talked here today, he mentored and coached along with his brother. Those of you that have talked to me before may have heard this. I'm a newcomer here to this community, but I've grown to love this community just like he has, and what we have here on this island and how special what we have here is. and making sure that it's well taken care of. Mary Mead and I are helping to carry on that family tradition with Bailey's General Store. And I just want to make this pledge to you all, just like I made to Sam and Francis several years ago, is that the store will continue. It'll continue to serve the community like you've heard today. It will also, we'll pay attention to what people are telling us, and the store will continue to evolve and be the center place of the island as best we can. I think it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that and be part of that. One of the things that Francis taught me was to make sure that you engage in the community and be part of the community. And so I feel very fortunate to be part of that. Francis's passing was a passing of an era. We've lost a lot of our great leaders that have been with us for a very long time. And I will issue the challenge to all of those that are here today, is that it's time for us to step up and carry that challenge forward.
Some of the few things that he did say to me, to all of us, was a quote from President Kennedy: "Don't ask what your community or your country can do for you, but what you can do for your community and for your country." And the few words that he spoke, that is something that has always resonated with me. Happy Father's Day, Dad. You know how much we all love you.
I just want to tell this community just how much it means for me to be part of this family, and how welcoming that not only Francis and his brother, but the whole family was to bring me into their fold as well.
I'd like to start today about talking about what a character my father was. He had a nickname for everybody. In my family, it was not Anne, Susan, Mary Mead, Patrick, and Jane. It was A-Un, Sioux City Sue or Susie Q, Meadle to Myrtle or Skinny Minnie, Fat Pat, who's not fat, Jane the Pain, Jill the Pill, and Sarah Bernhardt. And I don't know why he called me that, but our extended family was known as Clack, Angelica, T.O. Teapot, Toy Boy, Tigger the Tiger, Aunt Mulberry, Merle the Squirrel, Jen the Hen, Little Mike, Snag, Medusa, Catfish, Dilly, Linder, among others. I'm sure that many of you had your own private, personal nickname that he gave you too. Remember that. That's a very fun thing to cherish. Also, when we went into town, we didn't go into Fort Myers, we went into Fort Miseries. Over the years, my father was called many different names. As we heard from my sister Ann's name was Moon, Franny, FPBJ, Mr. B, El Jefe, but never ever Frank. That was his father's name. My father was very funny, especially if you appreciated a curmudgeonly sense of humor. He was a no fuss, no frills kind of guy. Some of the things he didn't like: he did not like daylight savings time. He did not like the 3.5 by 5 paper advertisements that were blown into the magazines, so when you opened it, it fell all over the place and on your lap. He didn't like pickles. He didn't like mustard. He didn't like lemon and ice in his Sanibel water. Please, no lemon and ice. He didn't like cold weather, which meant anything below 70. He didn't like undercooked vegetables. He didn't like dishonesty. He didn't like fondue restaurants. He didn't like the Grateful Dead. Or any other quality rock and roll for that matter, which I played loudly and often. He didn't like improper use of the Queen's English. He didn't like letters addressed to Sanibel Island or to Fort Myers spelled FT. He didn't like the term greenhouse, although that's what we used to call it when we were kids. And from about 1960 to about 1965, he did not like the causeway. but it warms my heart to recollect some of his favorite things. He loved trains, he loved history, he loved cats, he loved standing proud. For the American flag. He loved stamps, he loved Lions Club pins, he loved liar's poker. He loved baseball, he loved breakfast, bacon, eggs, toast, grits, and butter. He loved butter. He loved bragging about how much he used to be able to eat. He loved randomly inviting me over to dinner to cook me fresh spinach, black-eyed peas, homemade cornbread, and we would toast to our health over cold beer when I got old enough to drink. He loved having his back scratched. He loved going out to dinner and drinking wine with family and friends. He loved going out jooking. He loved ice cream and all the families, too numerous to name, that helped him care for his family when his wife, our mother, suddenly died in 1965. He loved Sanibel Packing Company. He loved Sanibel, Florida. He loved Mommy. Pauline, and he loved America. It does not matter who my father was, it only matters who I remember he was. Son, brother, farmer, beekeeper, soldier, teacher, merchant, husband, father, uncle, friend, grandfather, statesman, founding father, baseball player, civic leader, mayor, city councilman, mosquito control board, city planner, lion, philanthropist. It does not matter who my father was, it only matters who I remember he was. He was a gentleman, a simple man, a man who valued hard work and honesty above any social standing or wealth. He was the kind of man who stood up when a woman walked into a room.
When we started the city, Francis said to me, you know, what an honor it is for you, Porter, to be the first mayor. It's a nice thing. And I looked back with sort of a smile on that, and I thought, the first mayor of the city, Francis, is nothing like being the first mayor of the community. And that is true. Francis has always been the mayor of the community for the times we have been here.
My father lived a very full and very happy life, doing what he wanted and how he wanted to do it. He died with dignity and respect in his own home, on his own island, on his own terms, surrounded by his family, and on his beloved Sanibel.
Since today is Father's Day, and since we already have a mother of Sanibel, I suspect what we should do is have a father of Sanibel. I'd be very comfortable with having Francis Bailey be the father of the Sanibel community now and forever. God bless Francis. May he rest in eternal peace in God's mansion. Thank you.